A lot can happen in a week. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it downright ugly. When faced with intriguing developments in the week's news, we turn to a rotating panel of non-experts to parse the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. On today's panel, Lisa Falkenberg, editor of opinion for the Houston Chronicle, Marco Roberts, chairman of the conservative Texas Liberty Forum, and Raul Ramos, associate professor of history at the University of Houston. Lisa, Marco, Raul, welcome to Houston Matters.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Panel, on Tuesday, the Houston Texans officially revealed their new uniforms for the upcoming 2024 season. After some leaks of various elements over the past few weeks, we can now fully see the 4 unique designs that the players will wear during the games this year. These designs include a deep steel blue home uniform, a white away uniform that the team calls, quote, a traditional design with a modern edge, the alternate battle red uniform, and perhaps the most intriguing of the bunch, a new City Edition Color Rush uniform that notably features a new H-Town blue accent color that draws inspiration from the classic Columbia blue of the Houston Oilers. This uniform also features a unique helmet design with a stylized letter H on the sides. Now, as has been discussed on this very segment before, there remains some contention over the use of the official Columbia blue color that was worn by the Oilers, who are now the Tennessee Titans. Just last year, the Titans sent a cease and desist letter to the University of Houston over their use of Love Ya blue throwback uniforms, and the Titans donned their own throwbacks in a late season game against the Texans that they subsequently lost. According to team owner Cal McNair and his wife Hannah, who appeared on Sports Radio 610's In the Loop program this week, the use of this new H-Town blue was a compromise of sorts with some back and forth between the two franchises. The Texans finally reveal their new uniform overhaul, which includes a design that harkens back to Houston football history. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Marco, lead us off.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you what. The first thing I'm going to have to say is I can never get past that name that reads like an address. The Houston Texans. It's just always been one of my. I can never get over that. But setting that aside, I think it's good. I mean, the Houstons are on the verge of a new season, a new era. A lot of things are changing for the better. I personally find the new uniforms nicer looking. I think they're very sharp looking. This whole thing about the Houston blue, personally, I never cared for that color myself, so I'm not particularly upset about it. But I'm glad that they came up with an agreement that satisfies. I actually think it looks kind of cool, that little sort of that blue with the H that kind of reflects off of the darker navy blue, which makes it almost has a cool sheen. It does give it that steel look to it. So I think they're pretty attractive. There's a concession to that. We still have that, historical reference, that sort of hometown reference to the color. That's great and all that. I also checked to make sure, and Trump didn't say anything about this, so I think we're safe to have any opinions either way. No one's going to get upset. So that's another good thing. And so I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. And again, I think people are getting optimistic because, the Houston Texans have been not doing so well in the previous years. This last season seems to have improved things a lot for us. So maybe it's a sign of a new time.
Yeah. Raul Ramos.
My initial thought was it was bad because, anytime you're doing something with the overall look and design, really it's about selling uniforms to people who, don't have the latest one. And so it's really, there's a little bit of a money grab that it feels like. On the other hand, that when you look closer and you see it, I decided this was good. And the way I decided is I asked my 200 student lecture class about an hour ago. I asked them, what do you think? And in particular, they were really into that, what you called stylized H, which I had one student say, you know what, that H, that font, that feels like a Cholo font, and I said, you're right. That's, straight out of Cypress Hill. It's got this kind of street feel to it. It feels less corporate, which I feel when you look at this current design and then you compare it to the way things were before, NFL is a corporation, right? It's the no fun league, I think, is the tag sometimes gets used for it. And I think this is fun.
Lisa.
I have to say, what this debate is reminding me of is that scene in Steel Magnolias where Shirley MacLaine's character Weezer is talking about they're trying to figure out the difference between aubergine and grape, whether that was the color of the uniforms. And she says, this is football. All the people want to hear about is touchdowns and injuries. They don't give a damn about that grape shit. I wonder what people care really about the color of these uniforms. Now, this is a special color. It does have, evoke emotion. I was not in Houston. Maybe you guys were when this, horrible tragedy happened and lost the Oilers. But I don't know. I think why not reclaim it? The pain is still there. Does this help? Is this some kind of salve on the wound, Marco?
I think it is for a lot. I've been asking folks, and like your folks in your class, most people want this. And actually, it was a fan input sort of decision-making process. So I think it's worked out very well because people seem to be happy with the result, and they're happy that they got that little bit of blue. And in my opinion, more stylistically attractive.
Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't look good on you personally, Mark.
I'm not a powder blue person. I'm not.
Well, I will say the students were very excited for the red. Somehow the red jerseys in the past, and now it's even more red. And I don't know, maybe because I'm coming from the University of Houston, I feel like the red is particularly significant. But they, I think they are excited about it, and maybe that's being excited about the team and where it's going and its future. And at least you have to feel there's a certain amount of wanting to forget that ugly past. But I will say that you're right, Marco. There was a poll that they at least refer to, and this is a team that really hasn't cared much about the fans before. So the fact that they're asking the fans, at least for some input, is I take as a positive sign.
Mm-hmm.
Panel, sticking with the world of football, on Wednesday, ESPN's Pete Thamel reported that running back Reggie Bush would be getting his Heisman Trophy back. If you're not familiar with the story, Bush was originally awarded the Heisman, which is the highest honor in college football, for his 2005 season playing for the University of Southern California Trojans. During that season, Bush accumulated over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 18 total touchdowns, and he helped lead the team to the national championship Rose Bowl game, where USC ultimately lost to the University of Texas. In 2010, however, an investigation by the NCAA led to sanctions against USC over rule violations regarding gifts to student athletes, and this included vacating Bush's Heisman win after he had improperly received benefits from agents while enrolled as a student. Now, the Heisman Trust has officially reinstated Bush as a winner of the trophy due to, quote, enormous changes in the college football landscape, according to the trust. In recent years, rules for student-athlete compensation have changed significantly, and the Heisman Trust cited this as the impetus for the move. In a statement to ESPN, Bush said, quote, personally, I'm thrilled to reunite with my fellow Heisman winners and be a part of the storied legacy of the Heisman Trophy, and I'm honored to return to the Heisman family. Reggie Bush gets his 2005 Heisman Trophy back after giving it up in 2010. Is this good, bad, or ugly, Raul Ramos?
Well, it shows the ugly side of college football. It is about the money-making part of and the threat that players having some stake and profiting from essentially the product that they're creating is a contradiction and hypocrisy of the NCAA. And so there's some coming to terms with it, but it's really exposing other hypocrisies. Because the hypocrisy I would want to turn to is the other USC Heisman Trophy winner, O.J. Simpson, who recently passed away and, as far as I know, still had his Heisman Trophy. And so that shows some of the inconsistencies, if you will, of how the rules are applied. This is not a Pete Rose gambling situation, which I think you're seeing gambling opening up in sports all over. So that I think is still a line in the sand. But is that the next one that's going to fall? You have to wonder how much money has to do with this and not really ethics, if you will. Lisa?
This sounds good. I hope you guys are serious when you say non-experts, because I have no idea what to say on this. No, I mean, I too applaud the compensation piece. You're asking these people to make millions for the university and to have their likeness represented on all this merchandise, and they weren't getting any of it. And so, it's good that there's more, that there's some fairness now.
Marco.
I'm going to say I'm sympathetic to some of the things that Raul is bringing up, but first of all, I think it's fine. I'm not, is it as great as some of the other decision-making things that are being cleared out in Congress today? I don't think it's that important, but so I'm not going to object to it. It's fine. I do always think it's a little weird that, you're basically saying, well, it wasn't okay when you did it then, but it's okay now because we've changed the rules, and so we're going to retroactively say it's okay now. I'm sympathetic to the fact that, in this very big business, athletes are not, in fact, given a part of the share, and yet we have this countervailing argument about, well, yes, but the influence of money, there's a reason why we wanted to make it an amateur sport in the first place, because we always felt that, at least we used to think that the too much influence in the profit motive would distort the university and the whole incentive structure for playing. But I think this is as good as you're going to get, right? With the competing forces, it's fine. I think that, okay, at least he's being treated on the same level as everybody else today with the new rules that are coming into place. I think most fans seem to be good with it. That seems to be the general sentiment. They weren't happy about it before. Now they are. This is really their thing anyway. But I do think that there's an issue to looked at here in terms of just how much influence and how, is the influence of big business really beginning to sort of wag the dog, as I say, the tail that wags the dog, where the university is now having to make so many decisions that are really meant to please them. One of the things that I find very interesting is that most Division I universities don't make money. Only the top few do. And they actually have a deficit to support these structures because they're wanting to win. The other thing that's kind of sort of disconcerting to me, which is only 2% of Division I players go on to play on NFL. I didn't know that. That's a very small number. So these students, they don't really, you look at them, they're going to have a future career. Many of them do not. I was shocked to find that 52% of those players in Division I that play in Division I don't go on to graduate if they're in the basketball field, and 38% of those in the football do not graduate. That's a shocking number to me. That's a really high number. So
does that count the ones that are going to professional? Like if they could just go straight without graduating?
Well, it just gives you the number of the total number of those players that were in the full-time program. 38% of those in the full-time program that played football did not graduate. Mm-hmm. So that's the number I got. Mm-hmm.
So how many Heisman Trophy winners have not graduated?
I don't know. That's a good number.
I think that's one of the questions you're asking. Like, maybe that should be a reason to have your Heisman taken away. You didn't graduate from college.
Interesting.
Let's put an academic requirement on it for a change versus some other kind of statistic. That's a pretty important statistic. If we're still talking truly about colleges being places where education is the core mission.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Lisa Falkenberg is editor of opinion for the Houston Chronicle. Marco Roberts is chairman of the conservative Texas Liberty Forum. And Raul Ramos is associate professor of history at the University of Houston. Lisa, Marco, Raul, thank you all very much.
Thank
Good seeing you.
Thank you.